House of the Dragon Episode 10 trailer explained. With episode 9 of the show concluding in the epic nature that it did, and it looking as though the Dance of the Dragons has well and truly begun, episode 10 is set to focus predominantly on Rhaenyra and the Blacks, as we look to have a similar style of episode to what we just had where it was focused on the Greens. So with that, I thought I'd break down and explain all that there was to take away from the episode 10 trailer. So let's get into it. Here is House of the Dragon episode 10 trailer explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The final episode of the show is titled The Black Queen, and this is most likely due to the fact that just like we saw in episode 9 where we had the people of King's Landing swearing their loyalty to King Aegon II, we'll see the same thing taking place for Rhaenyra. The first few seconds of the trailer was centered around what I would imagine will be the start of the season finale. We had a shot of Rhaenys flying to Dragonstone following the declaration of war that she did at the end of episode 9. We had a shot of her riding Meleys over to Dragonstone and her stating to Rhaenyra that the Greens are coming for her and her children, to which we saw Daemon standing there and also Rhaenyra holding onto her stomach to show us that she's still pregnant. The look of fear in Rhaenyra's eyes was something that was ever so present, especially when Rhaenys mentioned children, due to the importance and value that they hold in her life. She spent her life tirelessly defending her children and their legitimacy, so a threat to them is something that she won't take kindly to. We then had a shot of the sword, which is named Dark Sister. This sword previously belonged to the sister of Aegon the Conqueror, Visenya, but Daemon acquired it. It shows the importance between Aegon wielding the sword of Aegon the Conqueror and Daemon on the side of the Blacks holding the sword of the Conqueror's sister, showing now how divided the house is when it once stood together and ruled so strongly. Following this, we had Daemon uttering the words, "You cannot bend the knee to the Hightowers, they stole your birthright." I imagine there's going to be a moment in the episode where we see Rhaenyra question if the peaceful route is the preferred option to go down. We know how much she wanted to sit upon the Iron Throne. She's always dreamed of it, and it's something she's always feared being taken away from her. But with the threat of the Greens looming and the very idea of her whole family, everybody she's ever cared for, being taken away from her or put in harm's way, it may lead her to question the very decision to fight for the throne, which I think is what's leading Daemon to speak these words. The next shot that we had in the trailer was of Aemond removing his eye patch from his face. I'm intrigued to see what it's going to look like, as it's been around 6 or 7 years, so one would imagine it would be healed, but the intrigue is still strong. I think this is going to be when Aemond comes face to face with Lucerys. It seems as though they're all going to be heading there, and this is where I think we'll see the both of them face off, and Aemond will seek to get revenge for Lucerys taking his eye all of those years ago. After this, Rhaenys stood around the painted table, saying every man standing around the painted table urges her to plunge the realm into war. The painted table is something we've not properly seen in the show yet, but it's what Aegon the Conqueror had built prior to him conquering the Seven Kingdoms. He requested it to be built incorporating all of the land following a visit to King's Landing. This was so he'd be able to devise a plan on how to take it all, and now we're seeing it in the show, which is great to see. In this moment, it looked as though we saw Rhaenyra standing off, looking out into the distance, questioning what's best for her to do. But this was shortly followed by a shot of them placing down on Winterfell, meaning we may see them visit there. I believe Jacaerys is the individual that's going to fly to Winterfell, so this could be one of our first introductions in this show, especially with the line spoken by Jacaerys saying, "Send us." We could see Jacaerys fly there with Baelor Velaryon to see if they'll stand with them. We also heard the line being uttered, "Lay siege to the Red Keep." The Red Keep sits within King's Landing, so it's clear to see that the Blacks are going to go for the Greens. It's quite a symbolic place to hold, as it was built during the reign of Aegon the Conqueror and was named Aegonfort and was used as his seat during the War of the Conquest. And of course, it's where the Iron Throne is held today in the Grand Hall, so it's extremely symbolic, but one that I would imagine is heavily guarded. Following this, we then had Sir Eric Cargill, who we saw having opposing views to his brother in episode 9 of the show on the side that he was sworn to, standing by Rhaenyra, holding her crown and stating, "I swear toward the Queen," showing his loyalties lie with Rhaenyra and the Blacks. It then looked as though we had Lucerys on his dragon in what seemed as though it could be a part of the battle that we're going to see erupt between himself and Aemond, especially seeing as though the final shot of the trailer was of Vhagar, so the two of them could take their epic battle to the sky. The next line that we had in the trailer was spoken by a speaker, and it was, "Your cause holds a power that has not been seen since the days of old Valyria." This was intertwined with shots of Rhaenyra and Daemon, Jacaerys and Lucerys, Baela and Rhaena Velaryon, and also a dragon. This is likely alluding to the blood of old Valyria that runs through them all. Velaryons and Targaryens managed to survive the doom, and the strength that came with it was something to be in awe of, especially with the power of the dragon. We then had a shot of Daemon speaking in High Valyrian to a dragon. I'm uncertain of which dragon it is. I don't feel as though it could be Daemon's due to the fact that he's singing to it in High Valyrian in order to tame it and keep it calm. Judging by the sheer size of it, it does make me question if it's Vhagar, and the use of High Valyrian could be tapping into the familiarity of being in her life when he was married to Rhaena. But the sharp spikes on the edge of the face make me think that it might not be Vhagar, but it's quite hard to tell in the low lighting of the shot, so I'm intrigued to see which one it is. We then had 3 dragons riding off into the distance, where it was most notable that we saw Rhaenys upon Meleys. Shortly after this, we then had a shot that mirrored what we saw in episode 2 of the show, where Sir Otto had gone to Dragonstone, and it now looked as though he'd handed Rhaenyra a message. I imagine these are terms that Rhaenyra must take in order to be able to survive, such as bending the knee and acknowledging Aegon as the true king. This is going to be a particularly interesting scene, as I imagine tensions will get extremely high. Then we had the final shot that we had in the trailer, and this was of Vhagar riding through the rain, most likely tying into the battle that's going to be occurring in the rain. I'm extremely excited for this final episode of the first season. The Dance of the Dragons is well and truly upon us, and the entirety of the first season has been building up to the beginning of the end. And although the end is most likely going to be several seasons long, the 9 episodes of conflict over the past 20 years are soon to erupt in what's one of the most iconic battles in the Game of Thrones universe. I'm gutted that the season is coming to an end, but I feel this finale will be the short-term send-off that it definitely deserves. It's said that Olivia Cook will not be in the season finale of the show, which is a shame, so I think we can expect her absence. But I would have to imagine that without her, the season finale will still be filled with tension, conflict, and maybe even a death or two. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. I can't wait to see what a near-on perfect show has to offer us before departing for a short while. Time will tell, and there's only a week to go. So, there you have it. House of the Dragon Episode 10 Trailer Explained. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. Are you looking forward to the season finale? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.